Let's talk about being a web designer, consultant, digital consultant, how difficult it is out there. And in this video, we're going to talk about some very rudimentary, some very basic building blocks to scale your business, how to position yourself, how to find the right customer, and what you should focus on if you really want to scale. On top of that, what a lot of people forget is they have to run a business. They have to run a sustainable business, which means you have to be profitable. You have to do marketing, promotionals, sales. There's a whole support component to once you find customers and sell customers, you then have to support them. Even if you don't think you're supporting customers, there's always going to be some support question that comes down, and you have to be ready for it and potentially capitalize on it to build a better business. So we're going to talk about selling a $1,000 website today, and I'm picking that price sort of as a good comfort zone, right? To be able to build in some profit, to find a customer who's willing to spend at least $1,000, but really you could place any kind of price point here. So there are three critical components that I've learned probably the hard way over the last decade, and that's value, quality, and profit. So let's start with value first. It's super crucial, and I know it sounds obvious, and like I said, this is some basic stuff here, but you have to have something that your customer finds valuable. So at whatever price point you're offering, let's say the $1,000 website, they have to see value in spending $1,000 with you. And they have to say that, yes, this is going to impact my business. This is exactly what I'm looking for. And at that price point, that's valuable to me, and I'm going to go after it. And then it's your job to put together profit and quality, hopefully within the same sentence. Now, what do I mean by this? Let's take a step back. In the website building business, in the agency building business, for sure, I know people who are in this just for the profit, right? It's software, there's pretty good margins. You can always try to find the lowest end either developer or designer to put things together. Heck, if you're selling a $1,000 website, you could be the person that goes and buys a $20 theme or no theme at all, say that you designed the website and sell it to your customer for $1,000. To me, that's low quality but high profit. Somewhere here we have to find a balance. And I would say that quality is really going to be the key factor in here to position it as a valuable solution to your customer, but to also be the shining star, the North Star to finding more business. In other words, if you're not shipping quality stuff, then your customer's probably not recommending you to other people, and other people aren't looking at the work that you're putting out and saying, boy, that's quality. I want to hire her to do my website or my digital consultation, whatever it might be. Very important that we find a good balance between profit, quality, and value. So why did I pick $1,000 for a website? Who's going to pay $1,000 for a website? What's going to be in that $1,000 website? This video is not going to cover that specifically. What it is hopefully providing a framework for you to sort of figure that part out. What I really want to hammer home is staying away from custom if you don't want to get into that custom territory. And maybe you don't even know yet. But when you get into custom, you start to, number one, change the way you position the products and services that you offer. You start to change the pre-sales process, the sales process, the onboarding process. Everything changes when the product or service that you're offering isn't sort of off the shelf. So many agencies say they're different because they listen to customers. And we really go for fine detail and listening to the branding and the messaging, and we really want to put the customer first with this white glove approach, and I totally get it, and I led with that for years. The problem is you start approaching every project differently, and every project that comes in is always going to be some variable that you're not able to account for. And that's the scariest part when you go to scale a business. Processes are different, you need to hire different people to do different things, timelines are different from getting deliverables from customers and content from customers, getting paid from customers. Everything always comes at this variable, unpredictable roadmap, and that's not good for scaling. It's not good for stress, it's not good for marketing, it's not good for your team. Now, I'm not saying custom is bad. Custom is great if you think about what you can build custom, add another zero, and then maybe add another zero. That's probably the price point you should be at for custom. But for today's lesson, $1,000 on a website and finding a process and a value that you can deliver on. It would take about 8.3-ish sales a month at $1,000 to make $100,000 in revenue a year. And on the outside, hey, not bad. I just got to sell 8 websites a month roughly, and $1,000 a pop. I can make $100,000. Sounds good. How many people do we need to talk to in order to get those 8 sales? If you're an amazing salesperson, you probably need to talk to 75 to 100 people, right, to get a 10%-ish, 8%-ish close rate, depending on how many people you talk to. When you start spanning that out across many months, thinking about how much marketing, advertising, promoting you have to do in order to get 100 new faces in front of you every month, and then, oh, by the way, you have to build all this stuff or manage it, it starts to become a little bit more difficult. So here's what I would say about that $1,000 website. Most customers who are paying $1,000 for a website, if that's their maximum budget or if this is their entry point into getting onto the web, chances are they don't need more than a basic website. So the components of building a website should be fairly straightforward. I know a lot of us in the space get super technical and we're so amped up about technology and building things. And then there's that side of, well, if I don't custom code it and if I don't use all the right functions, then my peers will look at me like I'm cheating. And how dare I put together a theme and some plugins and sell it for $1,000? I'm here to say that that is not bad, that is not snake oil, and in fact, probably the way it should be done at this price point. Most customers really just want the support and the security that they selected the right consultant, that consultant knows what they need out of their website, and more importantly, hey, if they have a question on how to make this website really function in their business, like how do I get a lead, how do I get a donation off of this website, that they can turn to you and say, how do I make that happen? Are you the person that's going to support me through this? So in my eyes, you could sell a basic $1,000 website, but the added value is you, the consultant. And the consultation that you put through on those first 30 days of building a website, teaching people how to blog, how to use their website effectively, hell, let them know where it's hosted and how they can access everything. There's so many customers out there that have been charged thousands that have no idea how to even get to their website and who has access to it. So what I would do is challenge you to say, what can I build? Is it a 5-page site with a gallery? Is it a 5-page site with a contact form? And then what are those added values I can bring? Can I show people how to connect it up to Facebook, how to use their blog? And if there's a whole training curriculum that goes along with this, well, then those are components of a sale that maybe you don't have to actually do. You don't have to actually deliver every single time. You could do pre-recorded videos. You could do tutorials that are just in PDF documents that you hand over to your customer. You could do in-person training sessions for an hour or 2. And this whole idea of buy a site for $1,000, get all this training, you're online and you're comfortable with that, that's an amazing sale. What do I have to do to hit 100,000 without having to sell 8 websites a month? Well, the first thing that you do is you sell a support service on top of or in length of that website launch. You can tell a customer, hey, it's $100 a month for my support. It's $500 a month for support. Whatever that number is, really going to depend on what you're delivering of value and quality month after month. But the idea is you don't just set it and forget it. You don't just sell $1,000 and move on to the next person. Certainly you could do that, but you're not building a scalable business at that point. And I would argue that the customer is really going to want you by their side no matter what the price point is to a degree. Folks like Troy Dean at WP Elevation, I'll link that below. They really know this stuff and they know how to sell support contracts. Again, I'm just framing this stuff for you to hopefully think a little bit different. But once you get beyond the support contract and the support role month to month, what you want to think about doing is start anchoring your $1,000 price point website with other products, right? So you might have a $1,000 price point, a $2,500 price point, and a $5,000 price point, and hopefully within those 3 options, you're still avoiding the complexity and overhead of custom. So if somebody came to you and said, hey, I heard you build awesome business websites for people and you support them and you train them how to use it and you can get these websites up in like 2 weeks, that's awesome, we want that. But oh, by the way, we want e-commerce as well. Well, maybe the $5,000 price point is where you enter in the e-commerce, WooCommerce plugin or whatever it is that you might be using with some training and education material around that, but you're still not doing custom. What you're saying is, look, I can do e-commerce, and in my system, it's, hey, here's the price. It's $5,000 to launch an e-commerce store with all of this training wrapped around it. I'll show you how to import the products. I have all of this stuff documented on your team on how to do it, but we're still not going custom territory at this point. And really, people are starting to see the value in that because number one, you're super confident with what you're doing. Like you can show them a proper sales presentation, because it's the same thing over and over again. You know how to speak that language because you're selling the same process over and over again, and they say, wow, yeah, that's great. Versus the person who comes in custom and says, well, tell me about your brand, tell me about your business, and they spend all this time on these complex ideas, and they're sort of getting into storyboarding, and they start being sort of all mushy and gray area. Well, you know, the price point, you know, we'll be around 15,000, whatever that is. I'm not saying that's bad, but you can see that a client, a potential customer, could look at that and say, is this person going to overcharge me? Do they know what they're talking about? Versus what you can do internally. You start thinking about, oh my God, all this development I have to do, all this design I have to do. I just want something that I can rinse and repeat and get on to the next thing, the next customer, and start growing my business. And that really is the biggest pitfall that I see in this space. So many people approach it with a blank canvas and they say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, you tell me what you want. And then the customer, they half the time don't know exactly what they want. They deliver you a whole bunch of crazy requirements. And because you're trying to land the sale, you're thinking, well, okay, maybe I'll try to do this. Let me work really hard to figure this out. And then before you know it, you've either underpriced your potential proposal, or you bumped up the price a little bit, and then you're just really grinding your profit margins away. It becomes way harder to ship, it becomes way harder to support, which is always the thing that people forget in the long run. You can also start doing stuff like add-ons, right? So you can start doing some on-page SEO optimization. You can partner with somebody who's really good at SEO and say, hey, look, there's an SEO audit that we can run. It's X amount of dollars. You can tack that on to the final sale. Content creation, blogging, newsletter creation. Hey, maybe it's $100 extra to hook up to MailChimp or whatever it might be. These little things, although they sound sort of laughable from the beginning, and maybe for people who've been doing this for a while, but what you really want to do is enforce or reinstate some confidence in the client to agency or consultant relationship. When they see that you can cover all the bases and that there's a price point to it, it at least allows them to say, okay, you know what you're doing, and you're going to charge me for it. And that's totally cool. I'm open to that. So you know what? I don't want this blogging component. Let's get that out for $200. But I do want this on-page SEO optimization. I think that's really important. So let's bring that into the scenario and let's talk about what that means. All the while you're telling people, look, this is the process I follow, and at this price point, this is what you're going to deliver, or this is what my team is going to deliver to you, Mr. or Mrs. Customer. You know, I see a lot of people go out of business in this space. They sort of give up, they get a job or whatever, something like that. And there was a guy in my local area who used to sell $500 websites all the time. I would see him everywhere selling $500 websites. We'd have customers come to us and say, hey, your proposal was $5,000, he was $500, what's going on? And in a small business, there's a big discrepancy there, and a lot of small businesses are very price sensitive. I just saw him get a real estate job recently and just totally do away with all of digital business. And he was like the guy that you saw beating the streets selling $500 websites, like a door-to-door shoe salesman. And there's a whole lot of stress in this business. And I remember him knocking on my door once saying, hey, I sold an e-commerce site and I just don't even know what to do. And he was calling us to ask for help. And I was like, just to fix what you have here is $5,000 alone. And he was like, there's no way I can sell this to a customer. So you start digging yourself into a corner when you start pricing the wrong way, and you're diluting the market. You're misinforming a customer, which makes it for anybody else who's coming in with a real good price, like a valuable price, look at that and say, wow, that's way too expensive. This guy said you would do it for $500. So be careful when you do your pricing and profit. There should be a profit there because it makes you a better business, but you can reinvest. You can hire more people, you can get yourself educated, you can go to more conferences, you can buy more tools that are important to the success of your customer. There's a lot that goes into profit, and it's not just into your wallet. So look, at the end of the day, I hope this video just helps you look at selling the $1,000 website in a new light. Hopefully it puts a different light on your own business and how you're positioning products and add-ons and services and support. That makes it a little bit more easier to understand. Hopefully it's a better safety net. And again, if you take away custom, where I see so many people get wrapped up in that they have to do it because their peers are evaluating them, or I should write lines of code because that's the right way to do it. Yes, in some cases it is, but I would argue if you're selling sites to small businesses, that $1,000 can be a pretty basic website. What they really want is the support and service and knowledge, the acute knowledge that you have of making their website a success. that's where they're going to really invest their money. That's what's going to lock them in to you as a customer and refer more customers to you in the long run. It's mattreport.com, mattreport.com/subscribe to join the mailing list. If you like this video, go ahead and thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I rant about stuff like this all the time. This is the 7th time I've made this video. There's been technical issues along the way. I am fingers crossed that this one comes out the correct way. We'll see you in the next video.